Hi everyone! Welcome back to some more Let's Play Planescape with me, your host Tim.
I don't need the succubus bar, she'll turn on us, she will.
Oh wow, Anna really still doesn't like Fall from Grace. Technically, we've been together for maybe, like the whole group's been together now for maybe 2 days? So let's go over what I did off screen really quick. So I sold a bunch of stuff and we have some better equipment on a few characters now. I also went back into the Rubicon to do a little bit of more money gathering / exploring. So let's cover what we've picked up and everything of the sort. So I went over all our tattoos and we picked up a few. Let's think, anything new here? No, we picked up a tattoo of the Bone Singer and a tattoo of the Joining. The Joining, let's read this. This tattoo tells of how you brought Corvus and Katrina together. It allows you to draw upon some of their happiness in finding each other to bolster your relationships with others. When the tattoo's ability is used up, that tattoo vanishes. So this lets me invoke friends. And we also have of the Bone Singer. You have learned how to speak with the dead and hear their stories even from beyond the eternal boundary. This tattoo draws upon your powers over undeath and heightens them, allowing you to chain the undead within range with a single command. So this lets me cast Hold Undead. And this tattoo is another usable item from my quick inventory slot. You can see that I've restored myself back up to 15 blood charms. Everyone has 15 blood charms. For equipment, we now have a Mage's Shield as opposed to the Mage's Guard. This, I believe, is two additional 2 points of armor class for a bonus. So our armor class is now -4. Mort has taken off his Teeth of the Viper and is now using
Hey!
Teeth of the Fire Drake now instead. So this is still does 1 through 6 slashing. The other one did 1 through 2 through 7, I think, piercing. They're both enchanted with a +1 enchantment, but this also adds 3 through 8 fire damage, and he's immune to fire, which is pretty neat. These teeth look more like lumps of charred bones than actual teeth. Although their origin is unknown, it can be deduced that they were taken from some fire-breathing creature. Using the teeth grants the wearer certain benefits normally possessed by such creatures. Dakon here, I think I gave him, yes right, I gave him the Dread Bond. So now he has immunity to panic and +1 to strength. Legend has it that this bracelet was created by Nagak the Sadistic. Tiny razor-sharp spikes cover the entire surface of this item, injecting small amounts of rare reagents into the bloodstream of the user. The effect of these chemicals causes the user to feel a constant adrenaline rush of strength, which is awesome for Dakon, because his strength is now like 21 or 22. It's amazing how often he hits and how much damage he does. We also gave him a tattoo of the Unbroken Circle. This tattoo recognizes your knowledge of Zerthamon's teachings and marks you as a friend to the Githrazi people. It allows you to summon the discipline and the focus of Zerthamon, giving strength and accuracy to your strikes against your enemies. So this allows him to use Zerthamon's focus, just like the spell that he normally would. Actually, I forgot he even had that. So we should go over spells really quick as well. Well, alright, hold on. Sorry about this. Let's keep looking at the equipment for all my characters. Anna now has the Jerkin of the Flitting Shadow. The armor class is 6, which is a bonus of 2 armor class for her, with a 15% pickpocket bonus and a 25% skill bonus. And I think we've read this already, so I won't do so again. The Brazen Rogue was the other one, which gives her a lower armor class, but I think that I really wanted to improve her base armor class, as it were. Her abilities. She's got a Tattoo of the Thief, which gives her +1 dex, 5% open lock skill bonus, and a 5% pickpocket skill bonus. She has Tattoo of Greater Warding, which is +2 to armor class still, and she still has her Tattoo of Might, which is +1 strength. I don't think I altered anything else on her. Here is Nordom. So we've outfitted him with the Time's Eyepiece, which was a new one that we discovered in there. This snap-on magnifying glass gives the wearer the ability to see a few seconds into the future, allowing them to anticipate where an opponent will be and dodge incoming attacks. Archers and snipers will have a maddeningly hard time trying to pin down anyone wearing this lens. It gives them a +3 to hit with missile weapons and +2 bonus to armor class. We probably should go over all the other things we picked up. So he still has the Lens of Inherent Viciousness, which is +2 to hit, +2 to damage. This snap-on magnifying lens somehow seems inherently vicious to you. You can't really explain why this is. You have a strange feeling that it's looking at you sometimes, sizing you up. We picked up... I think we already identified the stealth lens on screen, but I don't know if we described optics. Maybe we did already? So first off, he can use it to invoke Knock. It adds +2 to damage, 15% critical strike hit chance, and +1 to luck, with a +1 to Thaco to missile weapons, but it's a cursed minor artifact. Nordum's crossbows are not the only gear spirits that have fled from Mechanus. Optics. Oh, I didn't realize his crossbows were gear spirits that fled from Mechanus. Alright, story spoiler. A somewhat older and more curmudgeonly gear spirit has been living his last few centuries in an alchemy lab in Sigil. When the alchemist passed away, Optics moved on to various odd jobs, including keg taps, cuckoo clocks, metromones, corkscrews, and so on, never settling very long in any one place. His most recent form, that of a sniper scope, seems to content for him to now. Oh wow, I messed up murdered that. Although Optics is an irritating nag to the two younger crossbow gear spirits, he has studied the physiology of creatures throughout the planes. The two youngsters grudgingly admit, with reluctant, strained clicks, that his advice on how to aim for the eyes and other vital areas of creatures is quite valuable. Although it runs contrary to his nature, Optics can actually force itself to be charming to small mechanical devices, just not for too long. While in Nordum's possession, Optics can be convinced to talk to any locks you encounter and try to persuade them to unlock. This ability is the equivalent of a knock spell, but can only be used a certain number of times where Optics gets fed up and refuses to do it anymore. Another unfortunate aspect of Optics' presence is that once he's comfortable, he doesn't like to come off. A remove curse will be needed to pull him off of Nordum's head if he becomes too irritating. Interesting. I wonder if it actually changes his personality. It gives him other talking, other talking options. We've identified all of these. I think the Bolts of Whistling Doom, we should probably read about them if we haven't yet. And we also should read about another artifact we have, Bolts of Kessek the Devourer. So, the Bolts of Whistling Doom do 4 through 16 crushing, and they're enchanted +2 with a +2 Thaco. These bolts have somehow captured the deadly harmonic of Pandemonium and added insult to injury by imprisoning an enraged air elemental inside the head of the bolt. When one of these bolts strike an opponent, the head shatters, and the air elemental is released. The elemental will whip around the opponent in a frenzy, making one strike before it vanishes. We still have the cool Bolts of Acheron, which do stunning. Jagged Bolts do 3 through 6 piercing with enchanted. His crossbow is normally 2 through 5 with a +1. I'm currently sticking with his normal bolts. These will be pulled out for emergencies. And Zephyr Bolts, which I just right now realize are the same thing. These are the same exact thing. Why would I ever use Zephyr Bolts? We can sell those for cash.
Permission to part with that item is denied.
We also have the Bolts of Kessler the Devourer, which is a minor artifacts. They're 4 through 8 piercing, enchanted +2, and Thaco +4. Also called Kessek's Teeth, the head of these enchanted bolts are made of bone and have 2 long fangs curving out from the center. When one of these bolts strikes an opponent, the fangs take on a life of their own and begin eating their way slowly and painfully through the victim's body. Holy crap, like firing worms. Lampreys. According to legend, Kessek was a burrier chieftain on the Outlands who was forced to watch his own people starve during a winter storm in the Cleft of Tears many centuries ago. Trapped in the cleft because of heavy snows, he sent scouts from his tribe out to seek aid from his neighbors, the province of Onru. Learning of the burrier's plight, the merchant princes of Onru saw an opportunity to wipe out the nomadic pests and claim their lands for their own. The barrier scouts were executed, and their heads mounted on the walls so that the vultures might feed while the barrier starved. When the storms cleared and more than half of his tribe had died of starvation, Kessek finally learned what had happened to his scouts. Consumed with an insane fire, he fashioned a sheaf of bolts from the teeth and bones of his people who had starved to death. Once he had finished, he traveled to Orinu in the night and fired his bolts blindly in the city streets, the name of each barrier that had died whispered on his lips as he released each shaft. Each bolt he fired twisted in flight, hungrily searching for a victim, and each found one. Then another. Then another. The night was filled with the choked screams of the citizens of Orinu as the devourers claimed their bodies. When dawn touched the city, the vultures fed again. No trace of Kessek could be found. The bolts of Kessek the Devourer can still be found scattered across the plains. It is said that for each victim, the bolts claim that another bolt is born with the same hunger as the first. Holy crap. I didn't read these, by the way, before. That's pretty frightening. Alright, what else have we... And Fall from Grace. We actually bought her a new bodice from the clothier merchant. The armor class is the same, but she can memorize 3 additional first-level pre-spells. And an additional 2 second-level pre-spells. What does it say? This is a bodice, much like the one Fall from Grace, Madam of the Brothel of Slighting Intellectual Lusts, often wears. The enchantments woven into it by conclaves allow Fall from Grace to memorize twice the number of first and second level spells per day as you normally could. I didn't even check the other one. I just know it didn't add additional spells for her to memorize. We bought her a Ring of the Traveler, which is +1 to armor class. She's using a Stinger Earring, which is +2 to armor class and +2 further against piercing attacks. And she's still using her normal earrings, which is +1 to all saving throws. Okay, now there must be a way for us to look at the... Oh yeah, sure. I want to read everyone's different journal information, like the one we read for Fall from Grace. I don't remember how we got there. Oh, information. That was information. So we read her biography already. Let's try looking at our biography. I feel like I've woken up inside someone's dream. I don't know who I am. I don't know how I got here. And I don't know how to get out. First thing I remember is crawling off a metal slab in some vaulted monstrosity called the Mortuary, and some floating skull asking me a bunch of damned questions. I've lost my memory, I've lost my possessions, and the only thing I really seem to know is that I can get stabbed, beaten, burned, and I get better. This regeneration of mine hasn't done much for my looks, but no one seems to notice. I need to figure out who I am and how I got this way. I feel like something's missing. Something inside. But I don't know what. Oh, in my leveling, by the way, as you can see, we're almost level 11. Mort's level 9. Dakon is level 8 and 9 for Fighter and Mage. Anna is 8 and 9 for Fighter Thief. Nordom is level 7. And Fall from Grace is level 8. They've all gained at least one. I think a lot of us gained another level while we were in there. Let's go ahead and read Mort next. Of course you've got questions about me. You probably have questions about all sorts of things. Let me boil it down to you. When you've been dead as long as I have, without arms, legs, or anything else, you spend a lot of time thinking, you know? I figure it's been a few hundred years since I got penned in the dead book, but time doesn't really tally up the way it used to. Without that mortality thing pressing down on you, all the days and nights kind of blend together. So you think about it like this, and you think about that. And the most important piece of wisdom I've learned over the past 100 years or so is this. There's a lot more obscene gestures you can make with your eyes and your jaw than most people think. Without even resorting to insults or taunting, you can really light a bonfire to someone with the right combination of eye movements and jaw clicking. Drives them barmy. If you ever get beheaded and your skin flayed from your skull, I'll show you how it's done. I've got some real gems, Chief. They drive a diva to murder, they would. I know what you're thinking. I'm dead. I've lost so much. I should have sobered up. Oh, I'm murdering this sentence. It should have sobered me up to all that joy I missed, all those loves I've lost. Some people get all depressed about death. They haven't tried it, of course, but one thing they never seem to realize is how it changes your perspective on things. It really makes you take a second look at life, broaden your horizons. For me, it's pretty much made me realize how many dead chits are in this burg and how few sharp-tongued men like myself there are to go around. If you spin the wheel right, and your years of spending nights alone are over. Shallow? I'm not shallow. I just don't get caught up with all that philosophy and faith and belief wash that every berg from Aboria to the Grey Waste rattle their jaws about. Who cares? The planes are what they are. You're what you are. And if it changes, fine. But things aren't bad the way they are now. And I should know. Go on, ask me some questions about the planes, or the chant, or the people, or the cultures. Where you end up like me, without... Oh, when you end up like me, without eyelids, that is, you end up seeing a lot of things. I can tell you almost everything you need to know. It's like this. We're in this together, Chief. Until this fight is over, I'll stick like your leg. I'm murdering this. Let's start and stop this really quick. I think that did it, so now we can go ahead and read someone else's biography. If I murder this, I'll just redo this. So, Anna. Oh, didn't I read this one already? I don't remember. So let's go. Oh, her accent. Can I do her accent anymore? I don't think I can. Now, what you be wanting to know about me for? Are you just bored? It's not some grand tale, it isn't. So if you're expecting some epic, you just go right out your bone box on someone else, jig? I seen the way you look at me tail. If it'll keep your eyes to yourself, then I'll tell you where it came from. It's a blessing from me granda, or me grandma. Whichever of them was the fiend. I'm a tiefling, so I am, with just enough of the demon blood in me to sprout this tail out of me back. That blood trickled its way from me grandma and da into me, after passing through me own ma and da, whoever they were. Farron, me da! Ha! Old Stuttercrutch isn't my da, not my real one anyway. He's just fostered me, he did, dragged me out of the hive and brought me into the stable. Don't get him wrong by thinking he had a kind bone in his body. He wasn't shedding no tear from me being an orphan. He just needed someone to help him scrape debtors off the streets in the hive. And I'm small enough so I can get into places other boys can't. Plus, most of the gullies in his pack are wee boys with the fear in them. So I end up finding most of the debtors in places they're a bit too scared to look. The Dusties pay a nice bit of copper for the debtors I bring 'em, and Farrah don't take so much off the top that it leaves me a beggar. So he's not so bad, I suppose. Never your questions. Now I got some things to say to you, I do. I seen the way you act, and you need to be told some things if we're going to be traveling together. First, don't go flapping your bone box and locking eyes with everyone you meet. That's a sure street to trouble it is. And don't be talking no one's name in vain, or you'll be attracting the worst sort of attention. And right quick, too. One last thing. Don't be thinking you can treat me like a cobblestone, neither. You start doing that, and I'll take these blades and carve you, I will. I mean, blades? Aye, these dags are mine. I like these punch dags, I do. You can keep your axes and hammers and clubs. These dags are more my style. You just have to behave yourself. And you won't be wearing them, aye? Good for her. I think I can give her clubs and whatnot. Dakon? I have read his before. I think I've read Anna's before. And Nordam. Let's read his biography. Backwards, Modron. Equal Nordam. Queries. Chronology. Mordron, March. Destination. Limbo. Original destination. Mechanist. Reason for destination shift unknown. Reason lost. New parameters dictated by Superior. Shaped matter of plane. Limbo. To test hypothesis. Rubicon dungeon constructed. Superior lost in field test. Superior equals Nordam? After exposure to plane, perspective has deviated from norm. Perceptions have become smaller and louder. Wings have been replaced with arms. Reason unknown. Suspicion hypothesis. Not light wings? Speculation. Nordam was once 1, but am now smaller, louder 1. Processing information difficulties. 2 spirits of Rubicon gears assist Nordam. Transformed these selves into weapons to defend against Rubicon errors. Their query, leave this place and shoot other hostile sentients. Goal, adventurer? Reason for Nordam deviation unknown. Primary function terminated when Rubicon disintegrated, reached 3 cubits inwards and increasing. Processing functions. Functions redefined upon arrival of new sentience. Nordam, now gear in new hierarchy. Designated leader, addressee, attention. Nordam follows. That's pretty neat, I like those. Do we have any new NPCs? Oh, well, we're looking at one right here. This is definitely one of the constructs. Which construct is this? High threat construct. The picture didn't change. I'm guessing this is it. These constructs are the more powerful creatures inhabiting the Modron maze. They come in 2 varieties, one more powerful than the other. They're both more powerful than the light drone, and they're both dangerous enough that you should keep an eye out for them. I see a larval worm. These are not the pleasant earthworms that emerge from the ground after a heavy rain. They are slimy, massive creatures that feed on carrion, their mouths lined with sharp teeth that can tear the arm off a strong man or the head off a child. Holy crap. And I think that must mean we have a low threat construct. Oh, these are them. Oh, they look pretty cool. They look like, I don't know. They look like, well, they are obviously robots, but for some reason I'm thinking they look like Cobra Commander. I think it's that headpiece there, that shape. The light drones don't present much of a threat. They've been built to establish a baseline for wandering adventurers. Still, they're annoying and petty. Okay, let's give everyone a talk to and see what we have any new dialogue we can ask them. So we want to go here. Let's talk to Mort.
Hey, what's eating you, Chief?
Hey, Mort. I'll give you some advice. What do you think we should do next? Well, here's how I see things. Go on. Looks like we need to find out more about that night hag, Ravel. And I have to tell you, Chief, I'm not looking forward to that. The Fest Hall sages and some of the sensory stones might be able to tell us something, though. Good point. Something else for you. You said you're a memer, right, Orin? Yeah, memer's a floating encyclopedia. You put information in, you get information out. Something else for you. What do you know about the night hag, Ravel? Well, she's a night hag, and she was definitely barmy enough to make you immortal, of all people. I mean, she could have chosen me. Mort rolls his eyes. Still, anyone adult enough to lock blades with the Lady of Pain isn't someone we really want to find. One more question. Right, nothing, Mort. Just checking if you're still with me. So nothing new for him. Anna?
What is it you want then?
I'm not quite sure what to ask her about. I think we asked about most of this already. Let's ask her about this. Anna, didn't I meet you in the hive before I found Farid? She nods a little warily. Aye, you did. I haven't forgotten ya. What were you doing by the mortuary? It's my territory. I was looking for debtors, I was. She looks you up and down and smirks. Found a walking one, I did. Another question for you. Let's think here. I don't think I have anything. Well, let's ask her this again. I can't remember if I asked her this already. I had a question about how you found my body, Anna. I what? Well, what were you doing looking for bodies in the pregnant alley? I mean, you would have had to creep your way through the tenement, then past the Davis to get there. And the place isn't even as heavily trafficked as the rest of the hive, so why would you even look for bodies there? Anna shrugs. The rest of the hive is picked clean, it is. Got to find new spots to poach debtors, you do. Anna speaks. You feel a crawling sensation in the back of your skull, and you suddenly realize she's lying to you. Are you sure, Anna? There must be something in your tone because it stops Anna's tail dead for a moment. Then it resumes, a little slower than before. I think... She frowns and seems a little uncertain. I don't usually go to Scarp Debtors. I don't usually go there to Scarp Debtors, I don't, to think of it. I'd never even been there before. I just kind of came across it. So why did you go there? I don't know, I just did. And lucky for you I did, or you'd still be there. The same crawling sensation as before warms the back of your skull, and it's with it comes another realization. Anna's lying, but oddly enough, she doesn't know she's lying. Anna, were you compelled to go there? Is that how you found me?
Updated my journal.
She nods slowly. Aye, mayhap. She gives a half-hearted shrug. It wasn't one of my usual haunts, but I couldn't help myself. I just wanted to see what was there that day. And there you were, dead as a timber. She pauses. You were like a lodestone, you were. I don't know what led me to find you. Curious. Well, thank you, Anna. I wonder what possessed her, quite literally I suppose, to go there. Let's try talking again to Dakon.
Plane.
What
Record
is your
composition.
will?
Location, Sigil. Ward, Clerks.
Is it called Sigil? I'm gonna call it Sigil this entire time. Is it called Sigil? Really? I'm so sorry, everyone. I'm like 50 videos into this, and I've only right now realized I've been pronouncing Sigil wrong. I'm gonna have to look that up online now. Oh, this is embarrassing. Oh no. Alright, I'm not gonna start this game all over. Let's keep going. Alright, there are some things I would know, Dakon. Can I talk to you about your teachings? I have read the Unbroken Circle of Zerthamon and wanted to speak to you more about the ways of Zerthamon. Oh, okay, there's nothing else I can actually talk to him there. I want to ask about your travels. What can you tell me about the city of Sigil? Alright, we've already done this talk, so... Actually, maybe we can get him to talk about something else. It is known by the spirit... It is known by the name Sigil. I'm gonna keep calling it Sigil. Among the people, it is known as a city that does not know itself. It doesn't know itself. What do you mean? Alright, so we've already done this before, but I'm going to... do this again. Alright, so we've done this before. Okay, so this is as far as we've come before. So we basically had the little argument with him again, and then we came that he repeated our words, which is what then we will cease to know ourselves. Dakon's voice has changed slightly, becoming heavier. Such words have been spoken before. I have heard them and know them. Where have you heard them? The words are mine. Once I knew them, and I knew their meaning. I had forgotten them until you spoke. Dakon's gaze travels through you, and his blade stops shimmering, bleeding of all color until it is translucent. Dakon, how is it I know your words? I spoke the words, but they do not belong to me. Others may know them, for the knowing of it lies within all things. Humans call it wisdom. Okay, so I know them because it just makes sense. Darn it. Alright. There's nothing else for Dakon. Let's talk with Wall from Gaze. We've been together. She's been a part of our group for the past, like, 5 days now, even though we haven't done much but kill Modrons, but she's been part of our group.
Yes?
Hey, Fall from Grace. Can you teach me anything of the art, Grace? Fall from Grace shakes her head slightly. No, I do not believe so. The art and the disciplines I practice are different. Oh, how do you mean? My powers, as you see them, stem from my faith, not from manipulating energies as the art has done. The art is a mechanism by which the power of the multiverse may be harnessed through gestures, rituals, and devices. My powers come to me through a different means. My faith and the nature of my belief allows some of the multiverse to reveal itself to me. The nature of your belief? What do you believe in? I believe in experience. I believe a person may be changed for the better the more the multiverse they are allowed to perceive, and the more the multiverse is allowed to perceive them. My belief in the nature of experience allows me to... She pauses a moment, thinking. I suppose the best explanation is that my faith allows me to see things differently. When you see the multiverse in such a way, you learn how to change things, mending wounds, seeing a person's heart, and so on, just by willing them to happen. Oh, this is fascinating. I want to ask her both questions. This is more about the underlying mechanism by how her faith grants her spells. This one is me just asking if she can help me perceive the world another way. Let's ask her two first. Can you teach me to see things the way you do? I cannot teach you to see the multiverse in such a way. One must learn to see it, and in their own way, not through the eyes of another. She smiles slightly. I do not think you, of all people, need my guidance in such a matter. I find myself learning much more from you than you from I. Those changes you make seem a lot like spells. How do you learn to do those things? Do you have a spell book? No, my spells, as you call them, they come to me after I've rested and centered myself. When I sleep and awaken, I can focus myself once more. The amount of faith required to change the multiverse around me can be quite taxing on my psyche, I'm afraid. Just being able to see how Just being able to see how to change things is not enough. You must have the strength to make the change happen. And last... Oh, wow. I see. Can I ask you some other questions?
Yes.
Well, I can talk about I can gossip with her. Hold on. I'm gonna do that really quick.
Ready.
Anna,
Might as well.
I need you and Mort to spend some quality time over there.
Endure. I shall serve.
By
you
your
guys
command.
go over there while I... Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Grace, I'm way too close to you.
Yes?
I want to talk about our companions. Who in particular did you want to discuss? Dakon. Dakon? Grace raises an eyebrow. He's most uncommon for Githrazi. Really? In what way? Well, he obeys you. That alone would mark him as a pariah among his people. His entire race were once slaves, and even the reminder of servitude to them is distasteful. I never thought of that before. That's a great point. But he's not really a slave, right? He's serving me willingly. He wants to come along with me to see what I guess how I perceive things, and it's helped him. I was able to help restore his faith. Anything else? Dakon approaches everything in an orderly fashion. Again, most curious for a Githrazi. They tend to be unpredictable. They follow their impulses rather than plan. Anything else? He seems a most pious Githrazi and a steadfast ally. That he is. I want to talk about someone else. Let's talk about one more person. Tell me about Mort. Mort is most peculiar. I have seen a great deal in my life, but nothing quite like him. He behaves somewhat like a mirror. Granted, there's no denying he's knowledgeable, but he has a certain... She sniffs the air and wrinkles her nose. Batorian smell about him. Batorian smell. Yes, but he's not a Batazu, at least of any variety I've encountered. The smell alone, however, makes me treat the skull with caution. Is he a demon? Don't trust the skull. What do you mean when you say Batazu and Batorian? Oh, my apologies. Bator is one of the outer planes, the home of a race of fiends called the Batazu. They are evil creatures, yet they are organized and lawful in many of their behaviors. Some might call them devils. They believe in contracts and hierarchy. In many ways, they are like evil bureaucrats. Interesting. Maybe he was created by a demon and sent to watch me and give me false advice? Maybe Mort's the reason I'm dying over and over again. What were you saying about a mirror before? Mirrors are encyclopedias of knowledge. The owner may ask them questions, and if they possess the knowledge, they will inform their user of what it knows. And Mort is a mirror. I don't believe so. Mort lacks the silvery metal that mirrors customarily have, and he seems to have an attitude of his own. Such qualities are not present in conventional mirrors. Grace shrugs slightly. He may be one, but he's unlike any I've ever encountered. You know, I don't believe Mort's a mirror either. Perhaps there is some test to verify his authenticity. But I would not do one if you value him as a friend. If you do, then you must accept what he has told you. Thank you, Fall from Grace.
Yes?
I think, therefore I am.
What's up? Good as done.
So he may leave my group if I push the matter. I won't push the matter. It will reveal itself in time, I'm sure. Let's finally talk to Nordom. Nordom is staring at his crossbows intently. They are making a variety of clicking noises, first one, then another, as if conversing. How are you doing, Nordom? Introspective cycle commencing. Nordom clicks his eyes closed and begins to hum. Wait for Nordom to complete his analysis. A few moments later, his eyes click open. Introspective evaluation. Perceptions have become 1. Smaller, and B. Louder. Wings have been replaced with arms. Reason unknown. Suspicion, hypothesis. Not like wings? Speculation. Nordom was once 1, but is now smaller, louder, 1. Change has resulted in information processing difficulties. Oh, maybe we can help him out. I'm curious, Nordom. How did you end up in the Rubicon? Nordom chirps. Query requires submitting of chronology. Shall Nordom submit chronology? I can't pronounce that. Yes, I would like to know. Orders received at initiation of Rubicon project. Departure from plane Mechanus. Stage 1st. Arrived at destination. Plane Limbo. Stage 2nd. Parameters dictated by Superior Creative Director. Shaped matter of plane Limbo to test hypothesis. Rubicon dungeon constructed. Go on. Superior Director of Create lost in field test. Chronology disrupted upon achievement of stage 2nd. 3rd stage disruption occurs. Not part of project directives. What was this field test? Superior Director Create field test. Scouting parameters of Rubicon. Difficult dungeon construct to determine variances. Many deviations detected. Errors considerable. Nordom gives a low whine and shuts his eyes with a click. Director of Create not returned from field test. I heard the Rubicon wizard disintegrated the creative director. Suspicion unsubstantiated. Now confirmed. Superior encountered an error. Nordom's eyes click as if to clear them. Query. The error was large and unexpected. I'll say, I don't think he had much difficulty wiping out the director. Processing new information. Nordom stares at you for a moment in silence. Then there was a low grinding of gears from inside his frame. After a moment, he chirps. Fate of Creative Director confirmed. Director equals null. Well, actually, Nordom, I'm the new Creative Director of Rubicon. Nordom stares at you for a moment in silence. Then a low whir comes from inside his frame and he clicks. You're not certain. Oh, but it sounds like something clicked into place. Oh, does Nordom work like the robot from the Old Republic? You alright, Nordom?
Updated my journal.
He gained 1 intelligence and 1 dex. Status updated. Creative Director now reaffirmed in hierarchy. To your surprise, some of the warbling has gone out of Nordom's voice. It is more level, more controlled than it was before. The effect is a little unnerving. Ooh, I've gotten chills. Nordom, out of curiosity, what sort of duties is the Creative Director responsible for? And how much do you have to obey him? A slow tick-tick-tick begins building in Nordom. Like a clock about to explode. Response. Responsibilities of Director. A. Integrity maintenance of Rubicon Project. 2. Order issuance to Rubicon Battalion Work Group. Period of abeyance in accordance with Nordom obedience until Rubicon Project halted. Creative Director equaled Nordom's superior. What sort of tasks did the Creative Director ask you to do? Nordom's shutters whir down over his eyes as if he's thinking. Task, routine. Evaluation, forward scout, tidier. Assign perimeter of Rubicon Project to evaluate. Catalog, tidy. Then report. Report includes integrity evaluations, exterminations of project errors, wayward item recovery of untidiness. Wayward item recovery. Affirmatory. Items appear in maze that were not present in original design of Rubicon Project. They must be gathered, catalogued, evaluated, and stored to prevent interference. Modrons are sent out to retrieve them and secure them. Huh. Did you find anything during your last trip? Affirmatory. Can you give me what you found? Affirmatory. There's a moment of silence, then the shutters slowly descend over Nordom's eyes. There is a tick-tick-tick from inside this frame, followed by a whir click. A hatch opens up at Nordom's left side, and he reaches over with his free hand and passes off several objects to you, including a stream of copper coins. You said you evaluated items when you found them. How? There's a sudden ping from Nordom and a clack-clack as his lens house begins to rotate. A small panel opens up on Nordom's side, and a new lens pops out, almost by accident. Nordom glances up at it. Response. Alternate lens. Magnifying. Secured in housing. What were the other tasks he assigned to you? What do you mean by integrity evaluations? Repeated word choice confirmed. Echo. Integrity evaluation. Evaluation intended to detect flaws in Rubicon project. Catalog them. Then repair such flaws. Nature of multiverse and nature of plane. Limbo compromises Rubicon project. How does the multiverse and Limbo compromise the project exactly? Properties of multiverse. Cracks. Seals. Cracks again. Flaws created. Creates portals, conduits in space. Frequency. Pattern indeterminate. Solution. Unknown. There is as a small trace of steam rises from one of Nordum's vents. Nordum cannot repair seal cracks. Current status. Nordum is limited to perception of cracks. Oh no! Nordum sees what he's supposed to fix and is unable to do so. He can't do it. Oh wait! Oh, these are portals, according to my response. He can see portals, but can't seal them. Hold on a minute, you can see cracks in planes? Portals? How?
Updated my journal.
Ability to detect portals, 80 to 90%. Maximum distance of perception varies according to flaw mean distance. Yield plus 78. A bewildering series of clicks comes from Nordum, as if a parade of snapping beetles were marching around inside his body. Nordum must approach within 10 feet of portal. Margin of error, plus minus 5 feet of foot. Oh, is that right? Plus minus fifth of foot. Will sound off if near portal. Nice, awesome. And can you tell me about your extermination of errors? Nordum's normal warble drops to a wavering murmur. Errors. Many. All constructs in Rubicon Project are in error and exist in disobedience with Creative Director and all personnel of Rubicon Project. Order issued. Errors that persist in disobedience are to be rescinded. Obstacle. Nordum not up to specifications of task without suffering null state. You can't do it without being destroyed. So couldn't you stop these rogue constructs by So you couldn't stop these rogue constructs by yourself, at least without being torn gear for gear. Affirmatory. Null state counterproductive from the completion of task. I don't really want to insult his weapons, but we'll try this. Well, maybe if they give you better weapons. The crossbows in Nordum's hands begin clickety-clicking and twanging like a pair of strange insects. He listens to them for a moment, then glances at you. My crossbows wish to file a query, followed by a 33 pleas for help. Ammunition limited by suggestions of creator. Do you wish to provide new specifications for them? Oh, fascinating! Look at this! I can actually ask the crossbows to produce new bolts to be better. He's already got decent accuracy, so I'm going to ask about this. Sure. Well, how about something like this? Like, I don't know, a pyramid-shaped head. Except the head splits into 3 when it hits something. There's a sudden ping from Nordum's crossbows, and a sheaf of crossbow bolts begins spitting out from their tops. Arcing into the air, 2 panels open up on Nordum's sides, and the crossbow bolts sail into them with a rattle, one after another. After streaming out of 10 or so, the crossbows are silent. You have a strange feeling they're exhausted. Let's pack up those bolts and head out, Nordum. I'll ask about the rest later. What did I gain? What did he gain? Pyramid bolts. 2 through 5 piercing. Oh, okay, so they don't... Oh, and Zephyr bolts. No, I'm sorry, just the piercing bolts. So those don't do anything. But I gain a magnifying lens. Plus 10 to lore and minus 2 damage. These crossbow bolts have pyramid-shaped heads. They're not terribly aerodynamic, and it doesn't look like they could travel very far. Oh, but they're not identified. Rule of 3 crossbow bolts, 6 through 15 piercing. Special, head splits into 3 upon impact. These crossbow bolts are the work of a twisted mechanical genius. Yes! Just beneath the head of each bolt is a small catch that when pressed unlocks the head of the bolt, allowing it to divide. From what you can tell, Once the bolts are unlocked, the pyramid-shaped heads are carefully fashioned so that each one splits into 3 upon impact. Each triangle-shaped fragment then tears a different route through the target's body, wreaking havoc on his internal organs. Oh, disgusting amounts of damage. That's wonderful. We'll hold on to those. And I'm probably not going to need a magnifying lens, although it's neat that we gained it. The plus 10 lore might be helpful later, I suppose. And what did I gain from all this? We gained a glass eye, which is junk, another fragmented mirror, a gold bracelet, a segmented earring. Oh, how about that? We already had... I just bought one of those for a lot of money for Fall from Grace, and a bunch of junk. Okay. Alright, so that'll do it for us, everyone. Thank you for listening to me talk to my companions for a little bit. We learned our histories again, and read some NPC information. Now when we finally come back, we'll be ready to enter the Sensorium and see some new stuff. And I will see you guys then. Thank you for watching, and take care.